Welcome everyone to this class of yours. So today I'm here to teach you a very interesting concept, which is the Human Development Index. Now this is a very known concept in the theory of economic development, and this index is used almost worldwide to compare the parameters of countries and to also know what are the challenges of human development. So we start with the Human Development Index. Now, the first question that comes into our mind is, what is human development? And why are we talking about human development? Now, as you see, many a times economic growth, right? Economic growth and economic development were often looked upon as the same thing until the 1980s. Gradually, with the passage of time, it was felt that growth and development are not exactly the same thing. When it comes to economic growth, mostly we are talking about the growth of the national income, which is the gross national income or the per capita income. That means the total income divided by the total population of the nation. Whereas developmental parameters are quite different. Now, I'll give you an example. Suppose a country has a very high value of income. Would that mean that there is gender parity? Might not, right? Would that mean that there is income equality? It might not, right? Would that mean that people are having a good life expectancy? Right? So there are many questions like this that comes into mind when we talk of development as a larger umbrella. So today in this class I would be talking about the various dimensions of Human Development Index. Now in early 1990s, right? In early 1990s, this index was given by a Pakistani economist, that is Mehbabul Haq. And the capability approach to this index was given by Professor Dr. Amartya Sen. And both of them are Nobel laureates, as you know. And this HDI is computed for 189 countries worldwide by the United Nations Development Program, which is the UNDP. Now, let me take you ahead to the different dimensions or the different indicators of this Human Development Index. Now, as I asked you in my very starting that whether income is everything to answer about a country's development. So obviously it is not, right? So it is important that we go beyond income parameters, which are called non-income factors, and this index takes into account three dimensions. One is called a long and a healthy life. So this is one dimension to Human Development Index. So for this, they have taken an indicator which is called life expectancy at birth. Next, the next dimension is knowledge. Under this dimension, they have taken two indicators. One is mean years of schooling and expected years of schooling. I'll tell you what exactly these things are. And finally, in the decent standard of living parameter, they have taken what is called gross national income per capita at purchasing power parity US dollars. So these are the three dimensions and these are the indicators: life expectancy at birth, mean years of schooling for education, expected years of schooling again for education, and a decent life, which is a gross national income per capita. Now, having said this, let me go ahead with what exactly is life expectancy at birth. Now, life expectancy at birth mostly means that how many years on an average a person is expected to live. So that is what we call as life expectancy at birth. And coming to this knowledge dimension, that is mean years of schooling and expected years of schooling. Now, expected years of schooling means the number of years a school going child takes to complete the education system after enrollment, right? So this is after enrollment. And the mean years of schooling means the average number of years of education received by people beyond the age of 25, right? So this is mean years of schooling. And as you know, gross national income per capita, it is mostly used worldwide. Even the World Bank uses this parameter for estimating the country's GDP size and all. So this is a widely known indicator. Now, as you can see, since it is an index, so the obvious question is there must be some mathematical calculations involved in this. Yes, of course, right? So this index involves, or it is actually, the Human Development Index is nothing but the cube root of the life expectancy index multiplied to education index multiplied to the income index. So we have taken here the cube root, right? So for this computation also, there are some proper mathematical ways. So we generally take a minimum value. So for all these indicators, there is a minimum value, there is a maximum value, and we compare on the basis of the minimum values and the maximum values to compute the index. Now I'll just compute the index for one of the dimensions. This is very important. Okay, so how do we compute the dimension index? So this dimension index is nothing but the actual value. So obviously every country must be having one actual value of each of the indicators. So this is the actual value minus the minimum value whole divided by the maximum value minus the minimum. So this is the dimension index that we would be using for all the three indicators or all the three dimensions that I said. One is life expectancy, one is the education index, and of course the income index, right? Now I'll go away with the calculation of human development index for a country. Let us take Bangladesh as an example. So I'm taking here Bangladesh. So I'll be calculating the HDI for Bangladesh, right? So I'll take the actual values because we have to know the actual values. So it's available in the UNDP website also. So the life expectancy of Bangladesh is 72.3 years. Expected years of schooling is 11.2 years. Mean years of schooling is 6.1 years. And the gross national income, PPP, US dollars at 2011 base is 4057. So these are all the actual values. This is in US dollars purchasing power, right? Okay, let me calculate the health index. So how do I do this? Actual minus minimum divided by maximum minus minimum. Okay, now you'll ask that where is this maximum and minimum values? Now actually the maximum and minimum values are generally assigned to us for life expectancy. The maximum value is 85 years and the minimum value is 20 years, right? So let's see then how do we calculate this? So what is the actual? 72.3 minus the minimum value is as you can see 20 whole divided by 85 minus 20, right? So this is 52.3 divided by 65 rounds up to 0.8049. So this is nothing but my health index of Bangladesh, right? Similarly, we calculate the education index in the same way. So for education index, we have to calculate individually for expected years of schooling and for mean years of schooling. So for education index, the minimum value is 0 and the maximum value is 18. This is for expected years of schooling. And for mean years of schooling, the minimum value is again 0 and the maximum value is 15 years. So this is for mean years of schooling. So let's calculate the education index. So for first I'll do it for expected years of schooling. So actual minus minimum. Actual is 11.2 minus minimum divided by maximum is 18 minus 0. So this is 11.2 by 18, which is rounding up to 0.62 something. And similarly for mean years of schooling, it is 6.1 minus 0, this is the actual value, divided by 15 minus 0, which is 0.404. 12, right? So now how do we do it? After calculating this, we'll take up the average, the simple average of both this. So education index is obtained by taking the simple average of this 0.62 plus 0.404 divided by 2. I hope this is clear, right? So we take the index value of this divided by 2, which is the general average. This is equal to 0.5133. Now let's go to calculating the income index. I hope this much is clear. Now I'll go to calculating the income index. Now again for income index, I'll take the ln value, because you know that it is a large number, so we have to express it in terms of logarithmic transformation. So I'll take here the ln of this, right, 4057 minus the minimum value is 100 and the maximum value is 75,000. So how does this come from? This is the minimum of one country, right? And this is also the maximum of one nation, to the ln of 100. So this is some 8.3